mark against our name. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I call the honourable member Jonathan Young.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm very pleased to stand in support of the Companies Limited Partnerships Amendment Bill, which is sponsored by the Commerce Minister, Craig Foss. Mr. Speaker, the Companies Limited Partnerships Amendment Bill is outlined in National's 120-point Economic Development Action Plan and Commerce Election Policy, and falls under one of the government's 4 priorities this term, which is to build a more competitive and a productive economy. Mr. Speaker, National is focused. We are focused as a party on boosting growth, and this is another important step along that way. This bill seeks to strengthen rules applying to the governance, registration and reorganisation of companies and limited partnerships. New Zealand does have a good international reputation as one of the best and most trusted places in the world to do business. It's quite surprising that after the previous speaker mentioned the introduction of his anti-laundering, money laundering bill, that we were taken off the white list. And obviously this work needs to continue in order to shore up our reputation, which we are doing. Mr. Speaker, our reputation does stand under threat by overseas interests using New Zealand registered shell companies to undertake criminal activity. One recent case was a company called SP Trading Limited, a New Zealand incorporated company controlled from overseas, which was involved in chartering a plane later used in weapons trafficking in contravention to United Nations sanctions. It was reported by the Stuff website that a former fast food worker was the sole director of a Queen Street registered SP Trading Limited, a company that hired a plane discovered at Bangkok's airport in December 2009, flying 25 tonnes of arms from North Korea to an unknown destination believed to be Iran. The person pleaded guilty on 74 charges of giving false residential information to the company's office, which registered multiple companies with this person as a director. So such cases where foreign-controlled New Zealand companies are engaging in criminal activities are likely to seriously impact New Zealand's international standing. These things happen, and we must close the hole in the net by which these things do occur. Fish will always swim through the hole in the net, and if our commerce laws have holes in them, it will attract all sorts of unsavoury species who would seek to take advantage of the opportunities that can be exploited, Mr. Speaker. And so it's imperative that we discover these vulnerabilities and we close them. The previous speaker talked about the World Bank's report on the ease of business, or the ease of starting a business in New Zealand being the most easiest jurisdiction in the world. And that is due to the ability of an overseas person or a person resident in New Zealand to be able to register a company here via the internet. And if the person is overseas, they can do that with no apparent intention of operating in New Zealand. It creates an acceptable shopfront to an unacceptable backroom criminal activity, as we saw in that previous case. Mr. Speaker, we know that the Companies Office have already been responsive to this situation, this vulnerability that we find, in closing down this anomaly. They have already, as the Minister mentioned, removed nearly 2,600 at-risk companies from the register since 2010, when these matters were discovered. The measures in this bill are linked to other work aimed at deterring money laundering and making it easier for New Zealand law enforcement agencies to find out the ultimate owners of companies. So this bill will aid in stamping out this kind of behaviour and help ensure New Zealand remains a trusted place to do business. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I call the Honourable David Parker.
Thank you, Mr.